Fishos, well, autumn is almost over and winter is right around the corner, and for us reef fishos, that can only mean one thing: good weather, reduced currents, and venturing offshore. One thing that seems simple for some but a little bit confusing for others is the rigs we use out there, and they're really quite simple, and there's 3 basic rigs you can utilise out in the reefs from 30 to 100 metres of water that are very, very effective. The first one I'll start with is the paternoster rig, probably one of the most renowned reef fishing rigs on the market. Super simple to fish and easy to tie. So what I'll do is I'll just grab myself 2 lengths of mono. With these I typically like to cut more than what you think you'll need. I'll get it about halfway. Now I like to leave quite a large drop of space because you'll see when I actually tie it onto the rig, I just don't loop it on. So what I like to do here is I grab the mono and I start twisting it. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Grab the loop and I go back through that hole. Grab the tag ends, pull it down tight. Typically if I was fishing, I'd lubricate it before I pull it and tension it down tight. Now that that's tied, on the bottom end, just with a standard overhand knot, just a loop like that, and that's to attach to your sinker. Depending on the depth of water, you might run anywhere from a 6-ounce snapper lead up to a 10 or 12 ounce. Swivel on the top. Just tie that on using a uni knot. Very quick and simple. Trim the tag. So that is your basic standard paternoster. Swivel at the top, dropper or hook coming off in the middle, and your snapper lead on the bottom. Typically you can run these whatever length you like, but I like to kind of run it the same length of the rod you're fishing, so it's nice and easy to handle on the boat. Now the hooks we've been running, you can run a standard hook, whether it be a Shinto Pro live bait hook or an octopus beak. The last few seasons I've really been liking these LCAT gangs, fishing the bigger baits for species like your red emperor, nanagai, coral trout. You can use a half a hussar fillet or a mullet fillet and put it on quite easily. Now when you're rigging these hooks, always loop from the front of the hook, never come in through the back. So come through the front, and I always like to tie them on, rather than you see some people simply looping them on like that. What that can cause, that loop can drop down, get caught in the little nook where the hook meets itself, and cut you off. So untie that. Using a simple blood knot, 1, 2, 3. I usually only do 3 or 4 turns with this because it's so thick. Back through the loop and pull it tight. And once that's pulled tight, that's never coming undone. Just a bit of a safer option when securing your hook rig to your paternoster. Now, one of the second ones I really like to fish out there, particularly winter time, and when using a technique called float lining. It's an exceptionally effective one for species like snapper. We use the snell. So typically with this, I like to use the turned out ice like a Shinto Pro. We're using an octopus beak in a 7/0, a very common size which we'd use. Cut yourself your length of leader, so roughly about a 1.5 meters, and tie on your first hook. Once again, just using a uni knot. Now, once this one's tied, you want to grab your second hook. Again, from the back side of the hook, run your leader up. Now this is where you need to position your second hook based on the bait size you're using. So we're going to go about there. Now with your tag end, you need to wrap the line down the shank of the hook, remembering to always come to the opposite side to where the eye of the hook closes over, not to cut you off. So come to the opposite side. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. I like to do 8 to 10 wraps so it's nice and secure. And then put your tag end through the back of the eye and pull tight. So that's your snell rig. It's a twin hook rig, both hooks fixed, strong, never coming undone. And then the third rig is basically just a simple running ball sinker rig. Once again, I like to use the LCAT gangs. These come in 7/0, 8/0 and 10/0 sizes in a variety of colours. So tie your gang on. Now with this, depending on the current you're fishing, the depth, and also to the bait you are using, you can either decide to run the sinker straight onto the set of hooks and then tie your swivel on. So I'll typically use this in faster flowing currents or when I'm fishing much bigger baits, so that way when your bait gets hung up in the water column as it's drifting down, your swivel provides a stop for your sinker and you don't get a big twist in your line and tangled. Whereas if I've got less of a current or smaller baits, I'll typically run the sinker, like a 6-ball or an 8-ball, above the swivel, particularly when I'm float lining. So the other little thing we don't mind to do, particularly when fishing deeper waters, is we add one of these Optia Lumo sleeves. So put that on before your sinker. This not only gives you a little bit of glow, acts as a bit of a chafing tube, and also too, stops your sinker from snubbing down and hitting on your knot. So guys, this reef season, get out, hit the water. Hopefully we have some fantastic weather and check out these 3 rigs.